From the Pubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our inbox segment, your email questions, our answers here on video. We're going to talk about what's going on with Tim Tebow, what's going on with Bob Stoops, and Barry, let's start with what's going on with the Thunder. This one comes from Trent. Trent says, the struggles of almost every NBA franchise to put butts in seats flies directly in the face of the fact it's nearly impossible to get Thunder tickets for less than double face value. It befuddles me. Barry, I have to start off by saying the media, we don't really get into the ticket thing, so this is kind of an interesting topic, but because we don't need tickets, by the way.
Well, here's what the point by Trent, which is a good point. There are a lot of NBA franchises where tons of empty seats. I mean, you go to Detroit, it's a mausoleum. Philadelphia, Atlanta, places that have some decent teams. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough sell. What we've got, and the point is this, what we have here in Oklahoma City right now, and hopefully for time memorial, but right now, it's something we should take pride in and something we should celebrate because it is not the norm. It is tough to get those seats filled, 18,000, 19,000 seats a night with people in them. Thunders has a long sellout streak going back over 2 years. So it's a great thing for the Thunder, but it doesn't come easy. It takes a good fan base. It takes success on the court. It takes a lot of different things to make it work. The Thunder's been very good at the marketing and the ticket selling. It is not automatic.
Yeah, and you know what? It is hard for fans. I mean, there are a lot of fans that would like to go and see those games, and they just can't afford it because it is such a high premium. I get that. You know, I understand that it is difficult to get tickets, but I think you'd rather have the problem of a good team that's hard to get tickets for than a bad team that you can go up and walk up and get a ticket anytime. I think Oklahoma City and the Thunder fans would easily say that's a much bigger problem, much better problem to have than the other way around. All right, back to the inbox, and this one comes from Dan. Concerning Bob Stoops' prideful attitude, I firmly believe that a lot of the fans' negative reaction is due to the local media's overplaying OU's strength every preseason. What about that, Barry?
There's probably some truth to that. I mean, most places are optimistic about the upcoming season. That's fans and media alike. Except I would say this, particularly say this past OU season. I don't think there was rampant optimism. I mean, most people thought OU could contend for the Big 12. They tied at Kansas State at the top, but nobody was predicting 12-0 or a big bowl berth necessarily. So I think the expectations have been tempered a little bit in that regard by the media. Now, some fans, think every game should be won, but what the suggestion is that the media over years, decades maybe, probably so. I think this past season, not so much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think especially when you looked at what Oklahoma lost, all those wide receivers that were lost to various things. I mean, you had Ryan Broyles leaving, but then you had all those suspensions. Then as the season grew closer, you had two offensive linemen out for one out for their career, one out for the season with injury. And so you knew you were down two offensive linemen. I think at that point, if you look back, I don't think you were going to see any of us saying, and I don't think you'd see a lot of the other media saying that this was a national championship contender. Now they were still ranked highly nationally, Barry. Let's not just keep this to local media. I think national media had him ranked probably higher than some of us here locally did. But I think optimism, it's everywhere in the preseason, and it's really hard to avoid that. I don't know if that has anything to do with what Bob Stoops says, but anyway. All right, back to the inbox. This one from Bill. Bill says, for whenever Hasheem Thabeet has his breakout game for the Thunder, he needs a nickname. Big Bird was my wife's suggestion. Big Bird, interesting.
It is interesting, and I got to admit to some racial stereotyping here. When I think of Big Bird, I think of a white guy. I don't think of a black guy. I think of a white guy. I think of Mark Fidrich, the Bird, the Detroit Tiger pitcher from the 70s. Every once in a while, you see sort of a clunky white guy.
Chris Anderson comes to mind.
Every decade or so, the Birdman, and it's in the NBA. It's almost always a white guy. However, the body type's pretty close, I got to say, on Thabeet and Big Bird. If you've ever seen, Hasheem Thabeet is the only 7'3" guy I've ever seen who carries himself like he's got a bad back, but he moves okay. I mean, he sort of runs hunched over. If he stood up straight, he might be 7'6". But anyway, I'm probably not going to be able to sign off on Big Bird.
Yeah, I don't know what the nickname is, but I'm not sure I'm with Big Bird just yet. I think we need to work a little bit harder. You know, go back to his roots. He's from the African continent, sort of like Serge Ibaka, the Air Congo thing came out of there. Make this your job, Thunder fans. Let's come up with a better nickname for Hasheem Thabeet. I don't think Big Bird's quite it. All right, back to the inbox for this one from Dennis. Dennis says, why is it that Tim Tebow is having such a hard time staying in the NFL? There have been a lot more quarterbacks with a lot less talent who've stayed for years. Oh, that's a good point, Barry. But what is it with Tim Tebow?
Well, some of these questions are very deep, and some of these questions, the answers require a lot of analysis. This one does not. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Tim Tebow can't throw at an NFL level. He just can't do it. Even when he's won games, won a playoff game. NFL scouts, NFL personnel people, coaches say the guy does not have the arm to play in the NFL, and he's not getting my huddle. He's not getting my snaps. He's not quarterbacking my team. The Jets were a shipwreck, a train wreck, a total disaster. They didn't even want to go with Tim Tebow. He can't throw.
Yeah, that's the problem, been the knock on him back since his days at Florida, and it continues to be. And, you know, I think that we're seeing the NFL start to evolve more towards mobile quarterbacks. You're seeing it everywhere. Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, on down the list. I mean, before it was, you know, Michael Vick, and that was sort of it, or Randall Cunningham maybe back in the day. You had one or two maybe at a time. But now you're starting to see the NFL really sort of embrace that style, which is a little bit more college-esque, if you will. But the thing about Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, they can run and throw it. Tim Tebow, he can run it pretty well, but yeah, the throwing motion is not there, and I don't think you're going to see any NFL teams have a lot of patience for a guy who can't throw the ball playing quarterback. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.